Hey, what's up, Logos Personal Finance students? It is Friday, June 26th, day 64 overall of our e-learning experience. And yeah, happy Friday. We made it through the end of another week. We have made it through midterm. We are now 3 weeks down out of a 6 week term six. So it's all good news. It's sun is shining. It's a great day. And I'm ready for a great weekend. I don't know about you guys, but we got a little bit more work to do before we can close out this week since it is Friday. Let's go ahead and get right to it and take a look at Econ Lowdown. Bring up Blackbaud, and we will see our Blackbaud right here, right? And we see the note there about the Zoom meeting that took place yesterday. We got through another great Thursday personal finance class Zoom meeting. Thanks for everyone who attended that meeting. It was really good. We took a look at Econ Lowdown and what needs to be worked on. We talked a lot about what we've been talking about so far this term and how it applies to your life right now and your life in the pretty short-term future, right? We talked a lot about post-secondary education and how, especially, with all the uncertainties going forward in the, short-term future, right? We don't know what next school year is going to look like. We don't know what the school year after that's going to look like. We definitely don't know what the economy is going to look like for the next couple of years. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not optimistic, right? Everything's not going to go back to normal. I know that's for sure. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's not going to look exactly like it has for the past however many years. And so one way to mitigate the uncertainty and the pessimism of the future, if you're worried about those things, which you shouldn't be worried, but you should be concerned, is education, right? Have a plan, right? Know that I'm going to be going to community college, advancing myself, helping myself, making myself more likely to be able to get a job in the future because there might not be that many jobs to go around. But then we're also talking about taxes and how, especially during times like this, we need the government to be able to, help people who need help. And that's one of the big things that taxes pay for. So we should all pay our taxes, right? We should all pay our fair share. And so that everyone who needs help can get it. And everything else that tax dollars do, like, pay for the military. We need that, don't we? And so, yeah, all that came up. It was good discussions. Remember, tax day is July 15th if you haven't already filed your taxes, or if you have any family or friends who haven't filed their taxes for 2019. The deadline is coming up quick, July 15th. But let's go ahead and take a look at our Econ Lowdown. Again, this is personal finance, as you can see, term 6. I do want to just make a message. I don't know if anyone watching this really needs the message. It's mostly for people who probably haven't been keeping up with the daily YouTube messages. But just in case there is anyone out there watching from term 5 who did not do enough work in term 5 to earn credit. We gave people an incomplete grade for term 5 if you were one of these people. And we gave you until today to get that work done from term 5 to earn credit for term 5. So today's the deadline, right? So if you happen to be one of those people, or if you happen to know someone who still has work to do in this class or any class, today's the hard deadline, right, for earning credit for term 5. So make sure if you're in this class, you can just log into personal finance term 6, right? Use your student login from term 5, and it'll look just like this, only it'll say personal finance term 5, and it'll have all the work for term 5. But this is term 6, so we're going to scroll down and look at what's on the agenda. We know that the most recent assignments are always going to be at the bottom, so we'll scroll down to the bottom here. And we look at Budgeting 101, and we have a question. How much do you expect to pay for your own place? These are related questions. This is kind of how we do this thing, right? One thing leads to another. Budgeting, right? So we've been learning about getting an education so you can make good money, right? So you can get a good job so you can make good money, right? Why do you need to make good money? To pay for all the things that you need to be an adult, right? Well, how do you figure out, how much money you need to make in order to have enough money to spend on all the things you need? That's what budgeting is, right? Budgeting is all about just figuring out what your income is and what your expenses are. And when we're figuring out, income, that's a job, right? Expenses are, all the things that a human adult needs to live, right? Shelter, transportation, food, heat, electricity, internet, all of these things, right? All these monthly bills, right? And for almost everybody, your biggest monthly bill, as far as the largest amount, is your housing payment, your rent or your mortgage payment, right? For almost everybody, that is their biggest monthly expense, is their housing payment. And so that's why we have this question: how much do you expect to pay for your own place? So let's look at this Budgeting 101 real quick before we move on to that question: how much do you expect to pay for your own place? Budgeting 101. Let's see what this is all about. I think there's a video. Let's see if the video, if the sound works on this. Maybe? A little bit? We got captions. Dirty word. I misplaced my remote. I would turn the volume up, but good point. All right, so that's probably enough of that. She said a lot of what I just said before I started the video, but you also mentioned, that's a good point, about variable expenses and fixed expenses, right? And that's a very big concept. So the way this Budgeting 101 works, says click on each accordion tab and the next buttons to advance through the resource. Okay. We meet Reagan. All right. So we're going to follow Reagan, it looks like, throughout the course of her life. There are some test for knowledge questions. There is a spreadsheet. That's, using something like Excel or Google, not Google Docs, but whatever, Google Cells, I think it's called. Using a spreadsheet software to create a budget's helpful. But also they have apps out there that you could use to just plug in your information as well. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure how there's no quiz for this. I'm not really sure how it's graded. But take a look through it, and after you complete it, click there. We'll see what happens. Let's answer this question about how much you expect to pay for your own place, right? That's an easy one to do. This is easy points. There's no one right answer. Any answer is correct. Any answer will get you 100%. Make sure you answer this question, right, with anything. What is the question? Besides how much you expect to pay for your own place, where would you like to live when you move out on your own? How much do you expect that to cost you per month, right? So when I ask where would you like to live, here's some examples: apartment or house, urban or suburban, what part of the country, with or without roommates, etc. So where do you want to live? What kind of place do you want to live in? What kind of neighborhood do you want to live in? Who do you want to live with, right? And how much do you expect to pay for that, right? I'll tell you this. My first apartment, when I first moved out of my parents' house, was a shotgun apartment in South St. Louis City, and I paid $350 a month, right? And that was 20 years ago. So, you're probably looking at more than that nowadays, but I mean, it was a nice little one-bedroom apartment. I loved it. I loved living on my own. It's a little scary, but it's a lot of fun having that independence. So go ahead and answer this question. Let me know what you think. Remember, roommates cut all your costs in half, but you gotta live with other people. That's the trade-off. There's no one right answer. It's what you think is best for you. So answer this written assessment. Take a look at that Budgeting 101. Do the best you can with that. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Peace.